Assalamualaikum and good afternoon everyone. My name is Cedric M. Kadir. So ang report ko po is about Internet of Things or IoT platforms. Background history. The concept of IoT was introduced in the late 1990s. It involves connecting devices such as sensors, appliances, and machines to the internet to collect, analyze, and act on data. So noong late 1990s, people realized that connecting devices to the internet could make life easier. The development of IoT platforms grew as the number of connected devices increased. These platforms emerged to simplify managing, analyzing, and utilizing data from IoT devices efficiently. Purpose: IoT platforms provide the tools and infrastructure to connect devices to the internet, collect and store data from this device, analyze the data to extract insights, enable automation by allowing devices to communicate and act on data without human intervention. Usage: IoT platforms are used in various sectors such as healthcare monitoring patient vitals through connected devices. So, yan yung mga ginagamit like yung ginagamit sa pag-monitor ng heart rate ng isang tao. Smart cities, managing traffic lights, waste and utilities. Industrial automation like tracking machinery performance and predictive maintenance. Agriculture like monitoring soil moisture and weather conditions to improve crop yields. Consumer applications, smart homes with connected appliances like thermostats, lights, and security cameras, katulad ng mga CCTV. Types, kinds of IoT platforms. IoT platforms can be categorized into different types based on their functionality. Number 1, device management platforms focus on managing IoT devices, including provisioning, firmware updates, and monitoring device health. So, nakafocus siya sa pag-manage ng device. Example nito is House IoT Core, Google Cloud IoT. Number 2, connectivity management platforms handle the communication between devices and the internet. This includes managing protocols like MQTT, HTTP, and ensuring data security. So, they handle how these devices talk to each other and the internet. Example niya is Cisco IoT Control Center and Particle. And another example niya is making sure your smart device have a secure connection. Number 3, application development platforms provide tools and APIs to create IoT applications and services, often integrating with other systems for data analysis and visualization. Meaning, this helps developers create apps for IoT devices. Example niya is ThingWorx, Microsoft Azure IoT Central, and another example niya is an app that controls all the lights in a building. Number 4, analytics platforms focus on processing and analyzing the data collected by IoT devices to gain actionable insights. Meaning, this process the data collected by IoT devices to find useful insights. So, example niya is IBM Watson IoT, Google Cloud BigQuery. Number 5, edge computing platforms allow data processing to occur closer to the source at the edge rather than relying solely on cloud servers. This reduces latency and increase efficiency. So, meaning these platforms process the data closer to where it's generated instead of sending it all to the cloud. Example niya is EdGeeks Foundry, House IoT Greengrass. So, in short, IoT platforms make it easier to manage, monitor, and control connected devices whether they are in your home, in a factory, or across a city. They simplify complex tasks, allowing smart systems to work seamlessly together. Yun lang po, maraming salamat.
Assalamualaikum, and ako nga pala si Mohamed Emmanuel. Ang tatalakayin ko po sa Internet of Things platform is purpose or usage, example of process and capabilities. So, sa purpose usage, number one is connect devices, allow device and object to connect to the internet and communicate with each other. So, ang pangunahing layunin ng Internet of Things platform ay ang pagkonekta ng mga device sa internet. Ginagawa nitong possible ang komunikasyon ng mga device sa isa't isa, pati na rin ang pagpapadala at pagtanggap ng datos sa mga cloud-based system. So, bibigyan ko kayo ng halimbawa. Ang mga smart appliance tulad ng air conditioners o refrigerators ay maaaring magpadala ng impormasyon tungkol sa kanilang status at makatanggap ng mga command mula sa mga users. So, number two is monitor and control. Allow device to be remotely monitored and controlled. So, sa pamagitan ng Internet of Things platform, maaaring i-monitor at kontrolin ang mga device ng remote gamit ang mobile apps o web dashboards. So, halimbawa nito is maaaring bantayan ng mga negosyo ang mga sensor sa kanilang warehouse para sa temperatura o security status. Maaari din kontrolin ang mga device tulad ng pag-off ng ilaw, pag-adjust ng settings o pag-restart ng machine kahit nasaan ka. So, number 3 is collect and analyze data. Collect data from sensors and other resources and analyze it to provide insights. So, ang IoT or Internet of Things platform ay dinisenyo upang kolektahin ang datos mula sa iba't ibang sensors at device at suriin ito para sa makabuluhang impormasyon. So, example is mga smart cities, and ang traffic sensor ay maaaring magbigay ng data na ginagamit upang i-optimize ang daloy ng trapiko. Sa ganitong paraan, natutulungan ang mga organisasyon o gumagawa ng mas matalinong desisyon based sa real-time insight. Sa 4 naman is improve efficiency. Integrate applications and systems to automate tasks and improve efficiency. So, ang IoT platform ay nakakatulong upang gawing mas mabilis at epektibo ang mga gawain sa pamagitan ng automation o otomatikong proseso. Sa halip na magmano-manong gawin ang mga bagay, nagiging mas epesyente ang trabaho dahil sa mga teknolohiyang gumagamit ng Internet of Things. Halimbawa nito is sa agrikultura, ang mga automatic irrigation system ay gumagamit ng information technology, Internet of Things para sa automatikong magtubig sila kapag nakita ng sensor na tuyo na ang lupa. Hindi na nila ito bantayan ng tuloy-tuloy ng magsasaka sa pagtutubig. Nakakatipid sila ng enerhiya or tubig. Napapabilis sila sa gawain nito. Natutugunan agad ang pangangailangan ng mga pananim. Ang IoT ay tumutulong na bawasan ang mano-manong trabaho or magtipid ng resources at mapahusay ang kabuuang operasyon sa iba't ibang larangan tulad ng negosyo, agrikultura at iba pang industriya. So next is process. So number one is connect. The IoT platform establish communication with IoT device by registering, registering, configuring, and connecting them to a to a net to a network. So ang IoT platform ay unang hakbang ay ang pagkonekta ng mga IoT device sa isang network. Ginagamit ito sa pamamagitan ng pagpaparehistro ng device or pagtala nito sa platform, pagkokonfigura or pagtatagda ng tamang settings of parameters, at tuluyang pagkokonekta sa network. Sa yugto, ang layunin ito ay tiyakin na ang bawat device ay maayos na nakakonekta at nakakapagpadala o tumatanggap ng datos. Number 2 is analyze. The IoT platform process and analyzes the data collected from the devices. This including cleaning, transforming, and enriching the data, and then applying advanced analytics techniques to identify patterns, trends, and anomalies. Kapag nakakolekta na ang platform ng datos mula sa mga Internet of Things device, pinoproseso nito ang mga raw data upang linisin at gawing kapaki-pakinabang ang impormasyon. Sinusuri din nito ang mga pattern or regular na pangyayari, trend sa mga uso o pagbabago sa takbo, and anomaly, mga kakaibang aktibidad o problema. Example is kung may sensor na nagre-report ng biglaang mataas na temperatura, mapapansin ito ng platform bilang anomaly or mga kakaibang aktibidad o problema. So number 3 is integrate. The IoT platform integrates with existing system and application to enhance operational efficiency and decision making. So matapos masuri ang datos, isinasama ito ng Internet of Things platform sa mga umiiral na sistema at aplikasyon na negosyo. Example nito is ang datos mula sa isang factory sensor ay maaaring isama sa inventory system upang mapabilis ang production planning. Integration nito is nagiging tuloy-tuloy at mas epesyente ang daloy ng impormasyon sa iba't ibang bahagi ng operasyon. So number 4 is act. The IoT platform triggers action or provides recommendations based on the insight derived from the data analyzed. This can include updating system, providing insight to users, or trigger automatic actions. Ang hakbang ay ang paggawa ng action based sa datos na nakuha. Pwedeng automatikong mag-trigger ang mga system ng mga pagkilos, tulad ng pag-on ng cooling system kapag mainit ang temperatura, o magbigay ng rekomendasyon sa tao tulad ng pag-aalerto kung kailang mag-maintenance. Maaari rin itong magbigay ng insight sa mga decision makers upang mapabuti ang operasyon o magplano para sa future. Next is compatibilities. So, Amazon Device, Amazon Web Service IoT platform use HTTP, MQTT, and WebSockets. So, ang 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 Amazon Web Service ay gumagamit ng HTTP, MQTT, at WebSockets upang mapadali ang komunikasyon ng mga IoT device. Ang MQTT ay isang lightweight na protocol, kaya kaya ideal ito para sa mga device na may limitadong resources tulad ng battery-powered sensors. Ang WebSockets naman ay nagbibigay daan sa real-time na komunikasyon. Number sa Microsoft Azure IoT, use MQTT and AMQP over WebSockets and HTTPS. Gumagamit ang Azure IoT gumagamit ang Azure IoT ng MQTT or Lightweight Protocol or AMQP, Advanced Message Queuing Protocol, na akma para sa mas komplikadong messaging needs, at HTTPS na mapadalas gamitin sa secured na internet communication. Ang suporta nito sa WebSockets ay nagbibigay daan para sa mas mabilis at interactive na connection sa mga device. Next is Oracle IoT Intelligent Application use HTTP and MQTT. Ang Oracle IoT ay naka-base rin sa HTTP at MQTT protocols. Parehong ginagamit para magbigay ng maasahan at mabilis na connection sa mga Internet of Things device. Ang Oracle ay kilala sa integration nito sa data analytics at enterprise applications. So, next naman is ThingsBoard open source IoT platform. Use MQTT, COAP, and HTTP. ThingsBoard ay open resource. Ibig sabihin ay libre itong gamitin at i-customize. Gumagamit ito ng MQTT, COAP, or Constrained Application Protocol na ideal para sa low power device, at HTTP. Madali itong gamitin para sa mga startup o developer na gustong magsimula ng IoT project or Internet of Things project. The next naman is Cisco Kinetic IoT. Work with Cisco network hardware and some third-party products. Ang Cisco Kinetic ay idinisenyo upang gumana sa mga Cisco networking hardware. Compatible din ito sa iba't ibang third-party device at protocols, kaya mahusay itong gamitin sa mga organisasyon gumagamit na ng Cisco system para sa kanilang network. And yun lang po. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I am Said Usne E. Polao and I am going to discuss mobile platforms. Mobile platforms are software frameworks or operating systems that provide the foundation for running application and managing hardware on mobile devices like smartphones, tablets, and wearable devices. Kasama sa mga ito ang mga tool, library at services that enable developers to create and deploy applications as well as manage user interfaces and hardware interaction and network connectivity. And anyone who owns a smartphone, and that number is pretty huge today, has used a mobile app at some point or other. Karamihan sa atin ay gumagamit ng mga ito araw-araw at ilang beses sa isang araw. The use of mobile apps is as much a part of our lives today as, say, having food or going to work. What is a mobile app? To put it simply, a mobile app is a software application designed to function on mobile phones and tablets. Talagang pinasimple ang ating buhay hanggang sa ang karamihan sa atin to the point where most of us will be lost without them now. The next one, a brief history of the evolution of mobile apps. Before we delve into the history of apps, let us take a quick look at the history of mobile phones. In 1979, Japan launched the first automated cellular network for cars. And then 1983, Motorola launched the first commercially available mobile phone, the Dynatac 8000X. The evolution of mobile phones began with this mobile with this model. And then in 1989, Scion released a mobile OS called Epoch. Then 1991, GSM launches a 2G cellular networks. And then 1992, Nokia launches the 1011M, the first GSM phone. And then 1993 launches the Message Pad, the first tablet. And then 1994, the very first smartphone, Simon, was launched by IBM. It contained a few simple apps like calendar, address book, sketchpad, calculator, world clock, notepad, touchscreen, email capability, and so on. The history of mobile applications starts from here. Nokia also launched the 2110, the smallest GSM phone. Then 1997, Nokia includes a game, The Snake, in its phone. I think lahat naman tayo nakapaglaro nito. Then WAP was introduced. BlackBerry OS was released and used for pagers. The first app store, HandyGo, was launched. Web app concept introduced by Java. The smartphone revolution really took off. The piece of mobile app development picked up and became increasingly highly developed. Then in 2002, RIM launched the BlackBerry 5810 with preloaded apps like ringtone editor, to-do list, sketchpad, arcade games, and also introduced wireless email. I ass I assume some of you guys is nakakita nito. Ever, the real game changer was when Steve Jobs' Apple launched the iPhone in 2007, which had several apps like photos, maps, weather, and more. A year later, HTC released the first Android phone. Tinatawag nila itong the HTC Dream. In 2008 itself, app was chosen the word app was chosen as the word of the year by the American Dialect Society. Now let's proceed to the next. The uses of mobile apps. Mobile applications have a wide range of uses. Let's look at some of the most popular ones. The shopping. Shopping, one of the most common types of mobile apps, are for shopping. There are several subdivisions here. For example, Amazon, Flipkart, eBay, etc. are marketplaces where shoppers can find different brands and products all in one place. Then there are individual e-commerce apps of businesses like the Nike store, etc. These apps make it convenient for shoppers to buy whenever they want without leaving home. Then the next one, the gaming. If you have teenagers at home, you know what I'm talking about, but it's not just young kids. Even adults play games. There are many word games, puzzles, and brain stimulating games apart from arcade games. One of the earliest popular games was Tetris. Multiplayer games like PUBG, Dota had taken the world by storm at one point. Some of the other hugely popular gaming apps include Temple Run, Angry Birds, Candy Crush, and etc. Then the next one, the food. Food aggregators made it super simple to order food from home. Users can browse through dozens of food providers, place orders, and get delivery at their doorstep within 30 to 45 minutes. KFC Jolly like KFC Jollibee and are the most popular food apps, and etc. have their own apps as well. Then the next one, the paying card bills. The paying card bills, opening or breaking fixed deposits, transferring money, all of this can be done with a few taps on your smartphone now. Every bank has its own app. Then the next one is the social media. Who can live without social media in today's world? These apps help people stay in touch with friends and family, share news, photos, and debate, and a whole lot more. Instagram is the most downloaded of all, and etc. Types of mobile applications. There are basic types of mobile apps based on technology used. One of these is the native apps. These are created for specific platform or operating system. There are native apps for Android and iOS devices and other devices out there as they are built for a specific platform. You can't use an app built for one platform on another, like an iOS app can't be used on an Android phone. Next one, the web apps. These are responsive website versions capable of working on all mobile devices or operating systems, as they are delivered via mobile browsers. They behave like native apps but are accessed through web browsers. They are responsive websites that adapt to the device UI of the user. Basically, when you install a web app, you are just bookmarking the website. Progressive web apps, native apps that run within browser. The next one is the hybrid apps, combination of native web apps. Hybrid apps are wrapped within a native app within a native app and can be either downloaded from the App Store or have their own icons on the device. They look and feel like native apps, though they are web apps in reality. They features responsive design and are highly performing and can also run offline. And then that's the end of my report. Thank you for listening, and I hope that you learned something.
So, hello everyone. I am Asnara A. Sapalon and today I will present my video report. So, my video report is all about mobile platforms. And my part on this video is purpose, usage, examples, process, and capabilities. So, now we have a 5 purpose usage examples. Number 1, healthcare application supports health monitoring apps like Fitbit and MyFitnessPal, allowing users to track their health and fitness.
So, healthcare applications. Healthcare application is ginagamit ang mobile platform sa mga apps na tumutulong mag-monitor ng kalusugan natin. So, we have a 2 halimbawa here. Fitbit and MyFitnessPal. So, ang Fitbit ay para makita natin ang heart rate natin. So, si MyFitnessPal naman ay ginagamit para sa pagkain at pag-ehersisyo natin or pag-exercise. So, number 2, education and learning. Education and learning provides access to e-learning platforms like Coursera and Duolingo for online courses and language learning. Education and learning. So, si education and learning naman is para sa online na pag-aaral. Gamit ang mga apps tulad ng Coursera. Si Coursera is ginagamit siya para sa mga course, and si Duolingo naman is para matutunan ang mga ibang wika. So, napakadaling mag-aral kahit nasa bahay lang tayo gamit ang itong apps na to. So, number 3, we have e-commerce. So, e-commerce is powers up like Amazon, eBay, and Shopee for shopping and online transactions. E-commerce. So, e-commerce is pwede bumili online gamit ang mga apps tulad ni Shopee, at Amazon, and also the Lazada and eBay. So, halimbawa kung kailangan mo or kung gusto mong bumili ng gadget or damit, pwede mong bilhin and pwede ka din magbayad gamit ang GCash or GCash nga. Number 4, we have social interaction. Social interaction enables platforms for connecting with others like Facebook, Snapchat, and also the TikTok and the Instagram. So, number 5, we have gaming ecosystem. Gaming ecosystem creates immersive experiences and mobile games like Call of Duty, Mobile, and Genshin Impact with access to in-game purchase and updates. So, next slide is we have 5 processes. Number 1 is development and testing. Development and testing is developers use software development kits or SDKs, and tools to build, test, and debug apps before launching them. So number 2, we have app distribution. App distribution apps are distributed to official stores like Google Play Store, Apple App Store, or third-party sources. So number 3, we have security management. Security management platforms manage encryption, authentication, and malware protection to safeguard user data. So number 4, we have customizations. Customizations allows personalization such as themes, widgets, and settings based on user preferences. So number 5, we have hardware integration. Hardware integration ensures seamless operation with device components like cameras, sensors, and processors. So next slide is we have 5 compatibilities. So number 1, cross-platform apps. Apps like WhatsApp and Spotify run smoothly on multiple platforms like Android, iOS, and Windows. So number 2, we have version-based support. Apps may require specific OS versions, example iOS 14 or Android 10 for compatibility. So number 3, we have device types. Device types platforms support diverse devices, including smartphones, tablets, and wearables. Example is smartwatches. So number 4, we have peripheral support. Works with accessories like Bluetooth, headphones, smart TVs, and gaming controllers. So number 5, we have multilingual interfaces. Supports various languages and regional customizations to enhance user accessibility globally.
Artificial intelligence AI platforms started gaining attention as people realized they could make machines smarter by helping them learn from data and solve problems. These platforms are built to help developers and businesses create an AI-based application without needing to know every detail about how AI works. AI platforms ay nagsimula sa idea na pwedeng turuan ang mga makina gamit ang data para masolusyonan ang mga problema. So, sa halip na mano-manong i-program lahat, ang mga AI system ay natuto mula sa patterns ng data. So, ang layunin ng AI platforms ay gawing mas madali ang pag-develop ng AI-based application. Para itong shortcut para sa mga developers o businesses na hindi na kailangan alamin ang lahat ng komplikadong aspeto ng AI dahil ang platforms na mismo ang bahala sa mga technical na bagay. So next, the purpose of AI platform is to simplify the process of building system that can handle tasks like recognizing images, understanding language, predicting outcomes, or automating repetitive jobs. They save time by providing ready-made tools and models that can be customized for specific needs. So, ang AI platforms ay ginawa para gawing mabilis, simple at accessible ang paggamit ng AI kahit para sa mga taong walang malalim na kaalaman sa teknolohiya. Nagsimula ito sa idea ng pagpapatalino sa mga makina gamit ang data. Pero ngayon, ibahagi na ito ng halos lahat ng modernong teknolohiya. So, ang paggawa ng isang AI system mula sa simula ay mahirap at komplikado dahil nangangailangan ito ng advanced na kaalaman sa programming, algorithms at computing structure. So, ang mga AI platforms ay nagbibigay ng ready-made tools, for example, pre-built algorithms, models, at APIs na maaaring gamitin o i-customize para sa particular na mga pangangailangan. So, halimbawa, sa halip na ikaw mismo ang magtuturo sa isang modelo makilala ang mga larawan, ang mga platform na tulad ng TensorFlow ay may mga pre-trained models na magagamit agad. So, ang layunin ng AI platforms ay gawing accessible at mabilis ang paggamit ng AI sa maraming industriya. Hindi na kailangan maging eksperto sa AI upang magamit ito. Sapat nang maunawaan kung paano gamitin ang mga tools at i-apply ito sa iyong problema o proyekto. AI platforms can be divided into two main types. So first is customizable platforms. These let you build your own AI system from the ground up. You can upload your data, train the AI to a specific task, and tweak the system to fit your needs. Some platforms combine both types, giving you flexibility depending on your experience and goals. So, ang customizable AI platforms ay mga tools o system na nagbibigay sa iyo ng kalayaan para bumuo ng sarili mong AI mula sa simula. Ibig sabihin, hindi mo kailangan gumamit ng pre-made na solution. Ikaw ang magde-design, magte-train at mag-a-adjust ng AI ayon sa iyong mga pangangailangan. So, next is pre-built platforms. These offer pre-trained models that you can use right away. So for example, you might use a platform to detect faces into photos or translate text between languages. So ang pre-built platforms ay mga platforms na nag-aalok ng mga pre-trained models na agad mong magagamit na hindi na kailangan mag-train o mag-set up ng mga modelo mula sa simula. Ito ay tulad ng paggamit ng ready-to-use solution na nagbibigay daan para sa mabilisang paggamit ng mga AI tools para sa iba't ibang tasks. Next, the primary goal of AI platform is to make AI accessible and practical for various industry. People and companies use this platform for tasks like reducing repetitive work like processing invoices, analysis, identifying trends or patterns such as analyzing customer behavior. Interaction, building chatbots or virtual assistant to interact with the users. Creativity, assisting in writing, designing, or even making music. Sa pamamagitan ng AI platforms, makakapagbigay ang mga kumpanya at individual ng solusyon na hindi na kailangan magsimula mula sa zero o sa maglaan ng malalim na kaalaman sa teknolohiya ng AI. Sa madaling salita, ito ay isang paraan para magamit ang AI ng mas mabilis, mas mura at mas madali. Ang pangunahing layunin ng AI platforms ay gawing madali at practical ang paggamit ng Artificial Intelligence or AI para sa iba't ibang industriya. Number 1, automation, pagbawas ng paulit-ulit ng trabaho. Halimbawa, sa pagproseso ng invoice. Sa halip na magmano-mano mag-check, mag-encode at mag-verify ng mga invoice, maaaring gamitin ng AI para i-automate ang proseso. Halimbawa, ang AI ay kayang magbasa ng mga invoice, kunin ang mga importanteng detalye tulad ng halaga, petsa at pangalan ng mga supplier, at automatikong mag-update ang mga records o mag-trigger ng bayad sa tamang oras. Number 2, analysis, pagkilala sa mga trend o pattern. Halimbawa, pagsusuri ng pag-uugali ng customer. Ginagamit ng AI upang pag-aralan ang mga datos ng customer, tulad ng kanilang binibiling mga produkto, kanilang mga bisita sa website o social media activity. Halimbawa, maaaring gamitin kung ano ang mga produkto na madalas bilhin ng mga customer o kung may mga senyales ng pagkawala ng customer. Number 3, interaction, pagbuo ng chatbots or virtual assistant. Halimbawa, chatbots para sa customer service. Maraming negosyo ang gumagamit ng AI upang gumawa ng chatbots na tutulong sa mga customer. Halimbawa, ang chatbot ay kayang sagutin ang mga tanong ng mga customer ng real-time o magbigay ng mga solusyon sa mga karaniwang issue. Last, creativity, pagtulong sa pagsusulat, pagdidisenyo, at paglikha ng musika. Halimbawa, paggawa ng nilalaman. Ang AI ay ginagamit sa mga industriya ng sining at nilalaman para sa pagsulat ng mga artikulo, paggawa ng disenyo o paggawa ng musika. Halimbawa, ang AI platforms ay maaaring mag-generate ng mga teksto tulad ng mga blog at copy o mga post sa social media based sa mga keyword o tema na ibinigay.
So hi, good day everyone. I am Wendell Milka and today ko-continue ko ngayon yung report. Now mag-proceed tayo sa examples, process, and compatibility. So for our first example, we have Google AI. So one of the purpose nitong Google AI na to is to recognize image, translate languages, and also analyze some data. So alam niyo naman siguro kung ano yung isa sa mga purpose din ng Google, which is a search engine. So meron din siyang Google Cloud AI. So users upload data, select a tool like a language model, and let the platform platform handle the rest. So itong compatibility niya works with cloud system, meaning you can use it on most computers with internet access, which is yun yung kinaganda neto kasi yun nga, cloud nga siya. Next, we have Amazon Web Searching or yung AWS. So isa sa mga purpose neto often used in e-commerce for recommending products or spotting fraud. So how this thing work, developer use tools like SageMaker to train and deploy AI models. So yung compatibility nito integrates with Amazon's other service and many external system. So itong Amazon Web Service na to, a cloud computing system pa din to siya or isa sa platform that offers a wide range of service. So including yung computing, storage, content delivery, database, and analysis. So may pagka-similar din sila sa Google Cloud AI. Now let's proceed with Microsoft Azure AI. So itong Microsoft Azure AI na to is a platform that helps developer and organization create intelligent application using artificial intelligence. So Azure AI helps developers and organization rapidly create intelligent, cutting-edge, market-ready, and responsibility application with out-of-the-box and pre-built and customizable APIs and model. So sa mga purpose nito, offers a tools to build app that understand speech, recognize object, or analyze text. Yung process nito is plug in your data, configure the model, and deploy the application. And yung compatibility naman nito is works with Microsoft products and offer third-party software. So next is yung pinaka-popular ngayon, which is for sure a lot of you used before, is ang OpenAI. So itong OpenAI to is an artificial intelligence search lab and company that aims to develop AI in a safe and beneficial way for humanity. And also, ito rin yung same company na gumawa nung ChatGPT. So, ang purpose nito is focuses on language-based AI like generating human-like text or answering question. And ang process nito, users interact with a platform like ChatGPT, sabi ko kanina, through AIs or apps. And then ang compatibility niya, designed to integrate with website apps and tools through API. So, ayan ang OpenAI, which is responsible for creating ChatGPT. So, by using these platforms, businesses can focus on solving problems rather than worrying about the technicalities of AI. They work on different devices and operating system, making them versatile for various industries. And that's all. Yun yung report namin. Ngayon mag-proceed na tayo sa next topic.